This father watched as everyone else had go-karts, but his son only had a toy car. Although he had no money, he was a welder. The go-kart parts that others didn't want were seen by him as free treasures. During the day, he worked on construction sites, moving bricks, and at night, he would return to the factory to build a car. When his friends invited him to drink, he declined. Every day, he came home only after midnight, sleeping only 3 hours a day. His son thought he was going to get a new mother. One day, Haida discovered his father's hidden secret. It was the beginning of his dream. Haida was stunned when he saw what was in front of him. The go-kart, the one he only ever saw in his dreams, was right there in front of him. His mouth dropped open, wanting to say something, but then he closed it again, feeling defeated. He couldn't afford a go-kart, but Haida couldn't resist. He spun the tires, then touched the steering wheel. What shocked him most was that the car was engraved with his name. It was his car. While his father wasn't around, Haida decided to push the car to test its performance. On his way, he ran into his classmate Makoto, who walked with him. This was Haida's first time driving a go-kart, and it was on a rainy day, racing downhill. Haida's speed increased as he went, and Makoto, who was behind him, was terrified. He thought they wouldn't make the sharp turn ahead. Eventually, both of them crashed into the ground. Fortunately, there were no other cars nearby. Haida was unconscious for a long time before waking up. He decided to continue driving along the same route. Shinpa tried to stop him, but in Makoto's eyes, this was what real men did. He was willing to help Haida push the cart from behind. Haida restarted the car, gradually increasing speed despite the terrible weather. There were no other cars on the road. Haida needed a perfect drift, but either he braked too early or too late. Yet, Haida kept trying. He practiced again and again, accumulating experience. He figured if he couldn't die from falling, he might as well keep going. Makoto said nothing. He just helped by pushing the cart. Shinpa, anxious, went to find Haida's father. Shigeo saw Shinpa approach and asked what was wrong. Shinpa explained that Haida was in danger. Shigeo was shocked. When they reached the scene, Shigeo saw his son approaching the first bend with ease. The hardest part was the second turn, but Haida handled it effortlessly. Shigeo cheered him on, but then a problem arose. The go-kart didn't have an engine, and a new engine cost 120,000. But Shigeo had promised his son. They had even made a pinky swear. Now, Shigeo was empty-handed when he came home. Shigeo thought of payday loans but didn't mention it to Haida. Haida, on the other hand, seemed unaffected. He just took a pot out of the closet and began washing it to cook. Shigeo asked about the engine, but Haida casually brushed it off, saying everything was fine and continued cooking. Shigeo felt a heavy pain in his heart. His son had only a toy car, and it pained him deeply. Every time Shigeo went to work, Haida would see him off. Every Sunday, when Shigeo worked overtime, Haida didn't mind, managing on his own. To the neighbors, Haida was a very understanding child. But Haida was only 10 years old. Shigeo suddenly realized that his son had been silently enduring loneliness beyond his years. Even when bullied outside, Haida handled it alone. Now, Shigeo wanted to do something for his son. He went to ask his boss for help. He wasn't asking for an engine for anyone else, just for his son. Shigeo wasn't buying the engine, but borrowing one. He had just taken an engine off a tractor. Though it seemed unreliable, Shigeo had to try. Shigeo pulled the starting rope, but it didn't start. He tried again, and this time, they could tell from the sound that it wasn't very reliable. Despite the faulty hardware, Haida's skill was impressive. In the first race, Haida directly competed with professional drivers. This was his capital, the experience of holding the steering